Welcome into the first episode of the Chicago Cheesehead podcast. I'm here with Tyler, and we're going to go over the 2023 Green Bay Packers season and talk about the new defensive coordinator as well as a couple of free agency things before the offseason truly gets underway. Um, the Packers finished 9-7 this year, made the
Eight.
playoffs, or 9-8, excuse me, 9-8 this year. Made the playoffs, beat the Cowboys in the wild card round, and fell short in Santa Clara to the 49ers.
Still close.
Overall, I think it was a pretty good campaign. Um, we didn't expect much from this team this year, and I was genuinely surprised. Tyler, we'll go over to you. What did you think about the 2023 season? Favorite moment? Favorite game you went to? We went to a lot of games this year as well. So
We did. That was the most games we've ever been to in one season. So I'd say shout out to that first. Thanks, Aaron, for leaving, making ticket prices be a little bit more affordable. But that obviously won't be the case this next season. It was flagged as, rebuilding year. It's a rebuilding year. And in ways it was. Like the Tampa Bay game looked terrible. The first Vikings game at Lambeau looked terrible. Even when Tommy DeVito won NFC Player of the Week, that game was terrible. So it's ups and downs. Moral of the story or in the season is that the Packers have their third straight franchise quarterback, and then a matter of weeks and months here, he'll get that nice extension, and we will love it. Out of the games that I've been to, I went to a total of 4 this year. Two Bears games, the Rams, and the Chiefs. I would say the best one went to was probably the Bears in Week 18. Just it felt like a playoff game, and having never been to a quote unquote playoff game for the Packers, it was a lot of fun to be in that atmosphere. Um, but yeah, it was 4-0 in games this year, so I guess I got to go more often. What about you, Dylan? What was the favorite one you went to?
um, I don't. I think definitely Week 18 because it was
Mhm.
like you said, winning in kind of game. You also did kind of go to that game last year too, Rogers' last game, so that kind of counts too.
Yeah,
But
but that was a whole different vibe. It more so, maybe whoever listens to this too, graduation goggles. It's like the ending of something, and you don't know what's going to come next. That's kind of how it felt. I didn't really
yeah,
feel it was a completely different feeling. So
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I went to the week. I think 4 game. Yeah, Thursday night against the Lions. I mean, they played good for the not they played good in the second half, but the first half they just didn't show up. And then the Rams game was fun. It was a low scoring, but I mean, you take a win anytime. I would have gone to the Bucks game, but I didn't want to go by myself. So,
that's fair.
and I'm glad I didn't go because it was well, you never know.
That would have
But
been an atrocious drive back.
yeah, well, if they would have lost Week 18, that would have been a bad drive back for our significant others, and so.
Yeah,
But anyway,
the Chiefs
uh,
game was fun too, since we were the only team to put up 27 or more than
20,
25 points on them, and
that is
they they
true.
were they were very much to put that out on social media, but won't acknowledge who the team that was that beat them were that got more than 25 points. So
Yeah,
if there's one team that can save the NFL from a three-peat from the Chiefs, I think it's the good old Green Bay Packers.
I think the league should just force them through. Just give
Yeah,
us a Super Bowl one rematch. So,
yeah,
um,
but if they're going to do that, they're going to save that for Super Bowl 60.
no, because then they could three-peat. So you got to get it now.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
favorite moment from this year, besides obviously Week 18. What was your favorite moment of the year, or favorite player, breakout player, or anything along those lines?
Well, favorite player, we got to do shout out to Aaron Jones, as always, the elder statesman on the team at 29, soon to be, or is he 30?
Uh, I think he
He's
turns 30 this year.
yeah, I think that you're right. Breakout player, I will say, I'll go outside the box. I loved Tucker Kraft's game after Musgrave got hurt. He really burst onto the scene. And I saw a stat the other day that out of Kittle, Kelsey, and Kraft, um, Kraft had the most yards after catch out of those three. So I think that's just a sign of things to come. And hopefully Musgrave stays on his feet more next season. But it was Tucker Kraft for me.
Yeah, I mean, you could. There's so many different options you can go.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a couple that I personally liked: Carl Brooks, Carrington
Oh, good
Valentine,
to see you.
uh, and Dontavian Wicks.
Devontae 2.0.
I mean, that's the hope, but you never know because there's so many receivers in that room that played so well,
Yep.
and so we didn't really have an 1,000-yard receiver, but Love still had over 4,000 yards. I forget how many, 40 some, no, yeah, something like that, touchdowns. I don't remember. I think it's 38 or something. But overall, I think it was just a really fun year.
Mm-hmm.
Low expectations, but really good results. I mean, I went into that 49ers game thinking that, if we win, awesome, obviously. But if we lose, whatever. But then when they were winning, I was like, well, fuck, we might win the Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
Well,
And then they kind of just were playing 58 minutes of really good football and then didn't finish the game. So I was a little heartbroken, but
I
at the
think
end of the day,
everyone was.
big picture, we're trending upwards
Mm-hmm.
a lot quicker than some other teams that won't be named on this show. Uh,
Not yet. Not in the off season.
no, but it's again, their quote unquote their off season once again. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I mean, it is what it is. That's just the territory that comes with living in Chicago. I
Yep.
mean, we've grown up with it all of our lives. I mean, we
Yep.
do both reside in Chicago, as you can tell by the flags here in my
Yeah.
basement. Um,
I got I got my ownership
yeah,
certificate over in this corner. I'll eventually arrange it to be behind me. To go off your stats though, there for Love, 4,159 yards, 32 tuds, 11 interceptions. Uh,
they've 4 rushing touchdowns or something too. I think that was where I'm getting the 4 from.
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
he stepped up in a big way. I mean, we I was a bit nervous week 1, but I
I'm
never
trying to
really
think of.
never really show the emotions. I mean, no matter what it is, very well on my face. But uh, I was definitely nervous a little bit. But once they came out and just stuck it right to him, I was like, oh yeah, here we go. And then they kind of, like you said, they went through the ups and downs, and that
Mhm.
was to be expected. So I'm going to say right now that I have high expectations for them next year.
I agree. To touch on that real quick, that first game, you said you were nervous watching. Try being there. It was fun, but it was when it was close at the beginning. It was like, oh god, not again. But I think one of the best videos I've ever recorded at a sporting event was watching the Bears fans leave for the Soldier Field parking lots in the third quarter. So that was like, and I was just waving to them.
Yeah.
It was great.
Anything else you want to add about the season, or you want to move on?
No, I was they proved everyone wrong. I think I like I like that it's a young team, like the youngest team to ever win a playoff game, youngest team
Hmm.
in NFL history to win a playoff game, and they're only going to get better. I got excited the other day. I saw Wicks and Reed are already working out together, so
Yeah.
they need to draft a wide receiver in the first round. No, we don't. Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks. List goes on and on. They know what they're doing up there on Lombardi Avenue. They're going to be fine.
Yeah. I did. Side note: I did receive a DM from one of their family
Oh,
members for merch that I may or may not purchase. So, out of the two
what
that you meant,
merch? From who?
it's I can't say. It's one of the two in the video. One of them because well, one of them's from Chicago. You got to do your own research, but they reached out to me, uh,
Okay.
asking me if I wanted to purchase some merch. Anyway, um, biggest
Wait, a
letdown:
player? A player?
a player's family member.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I got that. I'll show you later.
Okay.
But
You're grinning from ear to ear there. It must be someone you like. So this is interesting. We got a
uh,
episode one. I already got to get some merch out there.
yeah, uh, but I think the biggest storyline outside of Jordan Love this year was the Joe Barry led defense.
Oh, don't even get me started. But I know we got to talk about it.
So Joe Barry is no more. No more. He is gone.
Sorry,
This is
Joe.
very old news, but we're covering it anyway because I'm great guy, just bad defensive coordinator. Uh,
I mean, what do you
he,
expect when you're the DC for the 0-16 Lions?
yeah, I mean, it was kind of a head scratcher going into it when he first got hired, but he had a couple. I wouldn't even say good stretches. They were just
No.
on like when you watch the game, you think, "Oh wow, this defense is playing really good," but they just weren't. I mean, even in the
No.
Chiefs game, we almost kind of threw that game, even though they said that it was a quote unquote good game by his defense, and even the playoffs too. Um,
Question about that game with Barry's defense. Not to interrupt you. That pass to MVS with Valentine. If that's called pass interference, do they get the stop there, or
no, no,
do the Chiefs go to score?
I I just came to assume that once the opposing team got into the red zone, they were going to score,
Yeah,
no
and
matter what year.
it didn't matter what game. Any
No,
game under the Barry tenure.
yeah, I mean, really, all of our lives. I mean, besides maybe like the Super Bowl year or like the year they went 16 or 15-1.
Just the
Um,
Giants.
yeah, other than that, I mean, I couldn't tell you any year that I felt confident in the defense
Mm-hmm.
in the red zone ever. And
Yeah,
I
I agree.
Rogers era, Love era, late tail end of Favre. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but let's talk about the new guy that they hired, Jeff Hafley, head coach, former head coach of Boston College, coached at Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I reached out to a source that is an Ohio State fan.
Oh,
Uh,
I
I
think I
mean,
might know this source.
yeah, and he said he was good. He got a instantly texted me back, said good coach, good hire. So I know the Packers will be now switching to a 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we haven't seen ever.
Nope. Maybe on
Um,
Madden, but not in real
yeah,
life.
so that'll be interesting to kind of see what they do with the personnel that they have.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that Preston Smith probably won't be dropping back into coverage ever again,
Thank
which is
goodness.
good, even though he's a great shutdown corner. Um,
Quarterback won when Jair was out.
yeah, and so I think the only problem with this is if they keep Campbell or if they don't keep Campbell, because I know there's some salary cap things that can happen with him. They're down to two linebackers really, and they need three in this
Yeah,
style
in the
of defense.
system.
And I hate to say it, but I think Quay Walker is more of like a he's. It's hard to say with Quay Walker because he shows flashes, but then sometimes he just disappears. I like him more in the as a run stopper.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's again, do you want to start Isaiah McDuffie for 17 games?
No,
I mean, the
I think
Packers probably will, but um, I don't know if there's any real good free. Like, I get the reason why you would cut Campbell is because he's older, the salary cap implications. But I think what's going to end up happening is because the Packers don't like to spend money, is they're just going to keep those three, draft somebody,
yeah.
and then kind of rotate Gary Van Ness, Preston, and well, Inigbari is probably going to be gone for a while. Um,
Yeah, he probably won't be back till probably week 8 or 9.
yeah, but the only other issue I have with this is that a lot of the defensive ends they drafted are more pass rushers than
Mm-hmm.
they are run run defenders. So
Mm-hmm.
that is another thing that I think they would need to address in this draft. And then the obvious need, because we have none on our roster currently, is safety. Um, but I'm excited. I've watched a little bit of his interviews, of Hafley interviews, I should say. And I mean, we won't know. We won't know until you get about halfway through the season next year whether or not this defense can play up to the expectations it has had for the last 4 years. The late,
Mm-hmm.
so what are your thoughts on the hire? You got anything to add? Any excitement about it, or were you looking for somebody else for them to hire?
It definitely caught me off guard. I didn't think they would go to the college ranks to uh, get a DC, but I think that's part of. He was with the 49ers for a while too, so I think there's a connection of LaFleur picking guys from the Shanahan tree, like they just did the other day. They hired the assistant strength and conditioning coach to be the new head strength and conditioning coach for the Packers.
Which is about
And
time. Which is about time. Sorry.
yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to say, because Christian McCaffrey was prone to injuries when he was with uh, Carolina, and then early. How long has he been with San Francisco now? 3 years? Four, two, three.
Two, three. I think
He
it's
was
this.
hurt.
This is the first full year. I think.
So yeah, so maybe 3 years total. I'll have to look that up to fact check. But he was healthy. Everyone on that team was healthy. And can you imagine a Packers team that's fully healthy and not? I've been saying that for years. Fire the training staff. Like, I don't know how you. We were like the most injured team. Like, don't get me wrong. That first Bears game, when that touchdown to Aaron Jones, when he grabbed his hammy at the end of it, I was like, oh great, there he goes. We'll see you in 5 weeks. So um, honestly, I was, as we speak right now on what's today's date, February 20th. I'm more excited about that strength and conditioning coach hire than I am the defensive coordinator, because yeah, he's got a resume, but he's never led a defense in the NFL. So we'll have to wait a couple weeks in to see
Yeah, and
how the players adjust.
I'm willing to be open in a
Mm-hmm.
sense where like I will give him the full year without complaining.
Yeah.
Whereas when you go in and hire Joe Barry and you know his track record, you're like, well, what the
100%.
hell? What the hell is going on with this? Why, And then it just snowballs into like, well, he sucks. He sucks. Fire him. Fire him. Fire him. Fire him.
Mm-hmm.
So and it just got, I think, too big for LaFleur because
Mm-hmm.
like I said, this team is trending in the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to make a change when for 4 years, the defense has let them down in some big spots.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, Christian McCaffrey also, this was his. He played 11 games in 22, and then this was his first full year in San Francisco. But it's the first time since 2019 that he's played a full season.
So there you have it. They're, they obviously do something right, or have done something right, because we might be tired of seeing the Packers lose to the 49ers in the playoffs, but they do it right out there, all around. So
Yeah,
well, outside of knowing the overtime rules, but that's a conversation for another day.
yeah, and just sidebar real quick about the Super Bowl. I was rooting for the 49ers, just because I didn't want to see Chiefs win. And I will not ever talk about that on this show. And I think it's very
Uh,
obvious
I think you
to,
just did.
yeah, but I'm not going to bring it up ever again. This is the one time and one time only.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I was rooting for the 49ers, but it's like pick your poison, because I didn't want any team, like I would have preferred the Ravens, and I would have preferred the Lions, but then
Had
if
the
they
Lions had been there, I would have rooted for the Lions.
no, I would have rooted for the Ravens.
No, well, okay. Well, if it was Lions Ravens, sure, I would have went Ravens. But if it was Lions Chiefs, I would have went Lions.
No, it's so tough. I hate
It's
it.
so tough. They can't end in a tie.
Yeah.
I went to Detroit last year. They're good folk.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
obviously you don't want to. I know your point. You don't want to see a division rival win, like when the Bears made it against Indianapolis in '06. I rooted for Indianapolis, but there's more hatred there. Like Detroit's been through it. They've had to deal with a season of Joe Barry at 0-16, so I feel their pain.
Yeah,
So
but that was only like 1 year. We had to deal with it for 4.
yeah, they still suck though. They had to go
Yeah.
through Joe Barry, Matt Patricia, um, trading Stafford, and then watching him win a Super Bowl the following year. It's just that was
Yeah.
cool though. That was cool though. That game. That was probably outside of the Packers Cowboys game. The Rams Lions game was probably the coolest game of that first weekend,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Anywho, back to the Packers. You were talking about Campbell getting up there. I mean, he's been a great player for us since we got him. However, I think it might be time to move on because I think someone that could fit the bill would be Patrick Queen. I would easily give him Devondre Campbell's contract because he'll turn 25 on August 13th.
Yeah.
Campbell's my age, 31, 32.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I
Queen can fly.
I think the only problem with that is that, again, knowing the history, like we actually well, just knowing the history, we know that they're not as aggressive, but at the same time,
Mhm.
we're in kind of new territory as a whole
Yeah,
because when's the last time you've seen like Dom Capers almost like basically died in the office of defensive coordinator here,
yeah,
and he only really left because of the coaching change, really. Or no,
yeah.
no, Mike Pettin was here.
Hmm.
But either way, I mean, it's very rare to see change, and I feel like we might actually be lucky and see a lot of positive changes to the team and be aggressive.
Hmm.
Maybe not as aggressive as some other teams where they're dishing out huge contracts,
Yeah.
um, but there's a couple players out there that I would like to see them acquire, but
Who's your
I'll depend.
top guy then? Because like I said, Queen is probably mine for that linebacker need. Like I love McDuffie. He's great, but like you said, if you're switching to the 4-3, that's more pressure on them. So I'd
Yeah.
love to see Queen become like our version of Fred Warner because Fred Warner is really good. And then would that open up to Quay Walker being like a Dre Greenlaw? Like if you're comparing good defenses, because 49ers yes, we're beating them for 58 minutes, but if you count the other games this year, those are two stud linebackers. And I highly think if Greenlaw didn't get hurt running onto the field in the Super Bowl, then the 49ers end up winning that game.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Because
Kelsey Kelsey
you know
didn't
who
have a really good first half, and then
no, you know who
second
his
half,
backup was? Greenlaw's backup,
Oren Burks.
and they targeted him like crazy. He gave up he made, I think 9 targets. He gave up 8 receptions on
Yeah,
9 targets. So it's like
yeah,
that's just again an outsider's opinion. I don't know how. I don't watch a lot of 49er football, but
yeah,
except when
uh,
they beat the Packers, sadly.
yeah. I'm going to say that I'm going to go. I think the Packer route of how
Okay.
they address free agency. I mean, I would love Antoine Winfield, but I know
Oh,
that will
that'd be
never happen.
Hey, he was cited with Jordan Love at a club in Vegas, so maybe
Yeah, that won't happen though.
little
Like,
handshake deal.
yeah, that'll never happen. But I think a more realistic option is Jordan Fuller from the Rams,
Yeah.
who has come out and talked about the defensive coordinator, well, Jeff Hafley a little bit. So, and I believe he might have played under him. I believe. Don't quote me on that, but uh, I could see that as like as a budget player that the
A Packers, yeah, it's a
Packers.
Packers
Yeah, it's a
signing.
Packers signing.
Yeah.
Um, Anybody else that you would like to see them target or?
I'm looking at a list here, it's like the top 200 players set to hit free agency. Um, this could be. Winfield's ranked number 8 on here. His run defense grade is a 93.4. So I mean, yeah, there you go. Because they're going to need a safety if they don't bring back Savage, who they didn't agree to
Uh,
extend.
yeah, and people saying that they'll just extend or re-sign him in free agency. I mean the whole with the way that their voided contracts works, him, Nixon, and Nyman, it
Mm-hmm.
would have been cheaper to extend them before that deadline yesterday.
Yeah,
So I don't think that those three will be coming back unless
exactly.
there's no market for them.
I
Um,
will. I will say one of the most electric plays I've ever seen in person on defense was Nixon's interception against Mahomes. He
yeah,
didn't. It looked like the game we used to play in the front lawn, 2 feet in. Like that was just incredible. Um, this could be, again, I've never heard of this guy before, so I'm sorry if he somehow sees this, but he's ranked number 20th on this list here. Kyle Duggar he was a safety on the New England Patriots. Um, Duggar fits in the run game as well as any defensive back in football, and he's not a total liability in coverage. I mean, in Barry's defense, all of our defensive backs sometimes felt like a liability. But his run defense grade is an 82.3. So, I mean, I would take that over a 65.
yeah, and
Um,
then
Go ahead.
I could see them signing to like mid-tier safeties.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them bringing back Jonathan Owens.
Oh, that'd be
Uh,
great. They should bring him back. He did great where he was serviceable in his role.
yeah, and I also can see them bringing back Rudy Ford.
Rudy.
But then my hope and my dream would be for them to draft the safety from Miami, Cameron Kinchins. Um, Guy is a stud. That's all you need to know about him. He is a stud. And
I'll go ahead, but I've got one that you might want to take a look at too.
um, just I just one word, just stud. Like he needs to be a Packer by the time the draft rolls around. And I think, I mean, you could spend a first on him, but I think they can get him with the first second that they have from the Jets. Um, so, but who's the other guy?
Defensive back from Iowa, Cooper
Oh,
DeJean,
DeJean.
DeJean, whatever.
No, you can't. No, no,
Why?
no,
I'm a Big Ten guy. Come on, he could play the slot position or safety.
no. I'm
Why?
telling you.
You don't
I'm
have to.
telling
You don't have
you.
to. You don't have to spend a first round pick on him, but he could.
He's going to be a first rounder.
You
And I'm not spending a first rounder on a guy from or a corner from Iowa.
hey, you never know.
No,
You
there's so
never
many
know.
better players out there.
You never know.
No, that'd be a he's. It seems
That
like a
that would be
Packers
a
move.
that would be a Packers move. That's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, yeah, but also there's. Oh God, I'm
You
hoping.
got a problem with Big Ten picks? Jaden Reed, second round, Michigan State,
Yeah, well, Lucas Van Ness too.
Iowa. See the Iowa
Yeah,
boys.
yeah, but they're at different positions where I wouldn't draft.
You sound like someone we once know when the Packers draft. Who?
Yeah. Um,
Rashawn Gary.
let's
Who? Okay, realistically, who do you want? Or who do you think they take
it really depends on how the board falls.
with free agency too?
Not even that. I think, but it depends on how the realistically how that like that 15 to 20 range goes because nobody knows because there's
Okay, if let me ask you this while you're thinking. So think some more. Um, the linemen from Penn State or BYU or Joe Alt are available after the top 10. Do the Packers trade up to draft one?
No,
Okay. That's
no,
going to that's
that'd
going
be
to
another.
disappoint one viewer.
That's a
That's a
something
take.
another team in the division would do because they're desperate. Um,
Mm,
Packers will draft someone in the fourth round, and he'll be an All Pro by year 3.
Rasheed Walker, 7th round, no sacks. Shout out.
But yeah, I really don't know because I've been doing a lot of mock drafts, and there's some guys that just are in that 15 to 25 range that it's a hit or like everybody needs the same position, but it just depends on who you want or what
Mm-hmm.
position you want to target where. My hope is that there's a. Well, I don't know because I would play it safe and I would draft the Cameron Kinchins from Miami
You really like him.
just to be safe because I would hate to lose out on him because I think he's going to be the first safety off the board. Um, and then you have Cooper from A&M, the linebacker. I think you could get in the second round.
Edgerrin
Uh,
Cooper.
yes, that guy will be a phenomenal player wherever he ends up.
What was the first guy you said?
Cameron Kinchins from
No. Okay.
Miami.
There's another guy on this mock draft, Jaden Hicks, Washington State.
Don't know enough about him.
They say pairing Hicks with DeJean, who can
No,
all center field while Hicks can
no,
play downhill, would make for a formidable safety duo.
no. I mean, safety wouldn't be bad for Dejean, but I just no, no, no.
Because you got Jair and Valentine at cornerback and Stokes too. So
Well, if he comes back healthy,
yeah,
um,
see that's the big thing I'm looking forward to with Aaron Hill. Keep Stokes healthy. Keep Stokes and Aaron Jones healthy for me, please.
yeah. Um, it's just you never know. Once it gets closer, you'll kind of see or feel out who are on the Packers top 10. You could tell by the way they do visits and stuff and
Mm-hmm.
all that other crap. Um, but I'm excited. I All we know is that it won't be a quarterback. That's all we know.
Yeah, I mean,
And
you never know, but
well, they might draft one, but it won't be in the first round. That's all I can tell you. And
yeah,
I also can tell you that there probably won't be a receiver taken in the first round. Once again, sorry to disappoint you guys, but we don't need one. So
we really don't. We're
unless it's
set.
depth, unless it's
Go
a
ahead.
depth guy like at the end of the later rounds, but I just don't see the need. Um,
Mm-mm.
we have yeah 6 guys that are going to make the team if they bring them all back.
And isn't our wide receiver and running back, no, wide receiver and tight end room only making 12.3 mil combined right now?
I believe so.
So you're not going to
Um,
get unless unless for the just to cross that bridge if we get there type of situation. Unless for some reason, say I'm not saying they're going to do this, but say Marvin Harrison is available at 25. Would you take him? Would you take him?
all of the GMs would be stupid
I
before,
know. I'm agreeing. I'm just saying if he unless somebody falls into their lap,
like
they're not
Malik
gonna reach for
Neighbors, like
yeah.
Marvin. Well, I don't think Marvin Harrison gets out of the
No.
top 5,
No, I don't
but
think so either. But I'm just saying like to your point, they're not gonna
it
trade
would
up
have
for
to be it would have to be one of those guys to take a
hmm
receiver.
yeah.
I don't see the need to draft one. That's
Yeah.
like even if I don't know, I just don't see the need. Even if it was those two, I mean, I still don't see. I would say there's better players, or not better players, but players that we need more than another receiver, in my opinion.
I agree.
Because I think all six bring a different skill set that complement each other already, and they already have a year together, and they have at least two more together. So, I
I agree.
why break up the band while it's rolling?
Oh yeah, and hey, Aaron Hill can if you can keep Christian Watson's hamstrings healthy, that'd be really great.
Yeah, I mean, when he's fully healthy, that offense you it runs so much better. Like he might not get a ton of targets, he might not get a ton of catches.
But he draws people to him.
Yeah, and that's opens up. That's why Dobbs had a big game against Dallas, and
He'll have a breakout year next year too, Dobbs.
I
I
think
think.
this year was his breakout year.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, but he got hurt. Wasn't he hurt for a little bit?
No, I think he was the only healthy guy all year.
Oh,
He might have been,
I might be
unless he
mistaken.
had like sort of like a nagging injury that didn't keep him out. But um, I think the biggest player to, I think they're all going to make jumps next year for sure, like the receiver
Jaden
room.
Jaden Reed's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah. The only thing that worries me now that I'm looking at this, like our free agents, is running back. So you have Aaron Jones, and we talked about how he's kind of getting up there in age for running back terms. Uh,
He deserves to retire a Packer. Build a statue now.
they don't need statues.
Okay, retire his number now.
They don't need to retire his number.
Yeah,
You're gonna run out of numbers.
no, you won't. You got 12 2. Well, they already gave away Mason's number, but you got 12 2, and then I would get 33. Just do it.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, anyway.
Yeah.
AJ
Um,
Dillon's a free agent.
AJ Dillon is a free agent. I don't know how I feel about re-signing him.
It's got to be cheap.
I think it's got to be cheap, but I also think a team will pay more. Unfortunately,
They'll give him
um,
Aaron Jones type money, you think?
no, not no. Enough
What's
money
his
to where he won't he won't come back. I believe. Um,
Which is unfortunate because he's a good guy.
yeah, and I can see the Packers taking maybe in the early third running back. Pick whichever one you want.
Gorham.
Really, I
Blake
think he'll be
Gorham.
gone by then. But I like the guy out of Texas.
Man, you're an SEC guy.
I mean, what can I say? They tend to be better players in the NFL for the most part. Um,
Okay. Well,
all
we'll
right.
see.
One other conversation I want to talk to you about today is David Bakhtiari. There's been
Oh,
some rumors,
oh,
and just want to put this out there that the article was just a theory, or not really a theory, but like a speculation. It wasn't nothing concrete to it, but the whole internet flew with it, and they're expecting him to be released soon. But I'm going to tell you right here, right now,
breaking news. Clip
he should
this.
he should be a Packer in 2024.
I I stand by it.
When he's healthy, he is easily top 3 in the league. And I know the argument's going to be, well, your best ability is availability. Don't matter, because guess what? If he goes down again, no matter what, we're still going to have to pay that cap hit, no matter what.
Yeah,
So
whether
if
he's
he,
on the team or not.
yeah. So if he's there, great. You have an all pro left tackle. If not, you have a very capable backup in Rasheed Walker, who I can
No sacks.
see probably being the starter in 2025. That's way too far in advance. But I think
One season at a time.
David Bakhtiari, I think, will be back in the green and gold next season. If not, he will be in Gotham green.
They're
But
only gonna get one of the two of his guys. They're not gonna get both. So I
well, if
think
the Packers cut him, then they're going to sign him for cheap.
Yeah, well, Goody said they're going to reevaluate, and I think he's shown progress. I mean, to your point, top three linemen in the league. That first game against the Bears, his antics towards the Bears fans aside, I got that nice little photo up here when he's giving them a certain bird. He was phenomenal in that game too. So it's just unfortunate that he got hurt 3 years ago. I mean, 13 games in the last 3 seasons. It's not great, but
He
if you
came back
can
like he didn't miss a. He came back that one game didn't like he didn't miss any
exactly,
time.
he looked like himself. So I don't think the Packers want to be in a situation where they have a dead cap. They just got out of that with Rodgers' contract.
Well, they're still in it.
Well, it's not as big of a hit though.
Yeah,
Like last year was 40 million, whatever. So
I don't know.
whatever. They're not as in depth or in debt with it as they were going into this season as they were last year.
Yeah,
So to your point, it's Bakhtiari's last year on contract. I say keep him, see what happens, and then if it's another bad year, if you're not confident in him by the trade deadline, then you trade him. But I personally do not want to see that happen.
no, easily my one of my favorites all time.
I
Um,
agree. He's
Lyman will always have a special spot in my heart.
agreed.
Um, but yeah, you got anything else?
Not that I can think of. We got still seems like forever. I think this until even the draft. I think
60 something days or
60
something.
something days, and then on Sunday, 28 weeks until football's back. And so, just looking at the 2024 opponents right now, I feel good looking at it. We can talk about that in the next one.
I'm going to Tennessee for that game. I think I've already decided.
I think I may have to join you because there's a couple new bars that I would want to go to after a victory.
Yeah, I just saw that before we started today, and I knew you were going to say something about it. The
There's
six,
two, yeah, six.
yeah,
There's a 6-story one,
yeah.
and then there's another one that's three or 5 stories. So it's popping time. Why I said popping, I don't know. I
Yeah,
aged myself. Like,
you're too old
uh,
to be saying that.
too old or too young?
You just shouldn't be saying that at all.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, Nashville's a great time all around. It would be fun to go to another road game.
Yeah,
Um,
I think at this point I would like to try to go to more road games because then you kind of experience the other cities and
yeah, I
I'm
respect that.
not going to I I'm not going to Chicago because I live here. Uh, but
Don't get me wrong; it's a fun experience. But if we were, I mean, you and I have been to one. If we the Hail Mary -14-degree game,
yeah,
the Jordy Nelson, Aaron Rodgers calf injury game, they're fun when you win. But I couldn't imagine dealing with those fans after a loss. So I mean, they
well, it
chant.
won't happen. It won't
Well,
happen.
I know, but they
We're gonna
chant with
win the next two. This can be 12-0 in the last 12. So we don't even put that on the air because it just won't happen.
it won't happen. I'm just saying that all they have when they beat up on like the Falcons, they walk out underneath the tunnels chanting "Green Bay sucks." So that's all they live for. So
Yeah, the only way I'll go to another Bears
playoff.
home. No.
Oh,
The only way I'll go to a Bears home game when the Packers are there is if they build that new stadium. That's when I'll go.
yeah, yeah. Soldier Field's not fun to get in
No,
or out of.
it stinks.
Yeah,
Stadium stinks.
yeah. Rats falling from the ceiling. Personal experience.
Yeah, different sport though.
It's still
Same name, different sport.
it's still the same stadium, man.
All right, well that'll do it for us for the first episode of the Chicago Cheesehead podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.